Hi, my name is Sander Buis and I'm the product manager for Barco's Direct View LED video walls. Welcome to this demo of Barco's new LED platform called TruePix. In the next 15 minutes I will show you why TruePix is the ultimate overview wall for control room applications. When we designed TruePix, we reviewed the entire customer journey for LED and optimized all aspects. And it's important to understand that for Barco, a customer is everybody involved in the project, whether it's the installation partner in the deployment phase, the end user, the service partner, or the owner. During this demo, I will show you how TruePix significantly improves the experience in every step of that customer journey. And we start our journey, of course, with the deployment. After evaluating the situation in the field, we addressed three major issues that still exist today when installing a narrow pixel pitch LED product. First, while conditions in the factory are under control, in the real world we have to deal with a lot of factors which we cannot control, and this may impact our final result. A crooked wall or floor can cause mechanical stress in the LED tiles, resulting in visible seams, the so-called dark and bright lines. And exactly this is the second problem in the deployment, which is the long and unpredictable time needed to install the LED wall. Up to 50% of the time is spent tweaking these mechanical seams after the installation of the frames and modules. This can impact both the project planning and the budget. And finally, the vast majority of installations worldwide with narrow pixel pitch products are adversely impacted due to poor handling. Considering LED technology is batch dependent, we don't have an infinite stash of compatible spare modules, so damage must be avoided at every stage of the project. In short, we want to eliminate the impact of all factors in the deployment which we cannot control to end up with a consistent quality and a predictable time to install, while avoiding damage in the process. And we do this by applying a concept which we call smart engineering. So how do we make sure we don't end up with mechanical seams? We tackle this problem at the roots. The LED wall has to be free of stress, mechanical stress. And we do this by using specially designed brackets. And as you can see, these brackets have these springs inside of them. Now, when we install our frames, the weight rests on these springs, and based on the force of gravity and the principle of communicating vessels, the wall will level itself out. In a way, our LED wall becomes a big bubble level. The result is a completely frictionless structure, eliminating all mechanical stress. Once the frames are installed, we can now start to populate them with our modules. This is the tricky part when it comes to damages. So why is that? Let's have a look at the LED module. For narrow pixel pitch products, the pixels are extremely close to the edge of the module. Even the slightest contact between the edge of the module and its surroundings can rip off multiple pixels. This unfortunate event can happen even to the most seasoned installers. Again, a factor we cannot control, so we developed a mechanism which reduces the risk of damage significantly by keeping the edges of the modules away from its solid surroundings. We call this mechanism shift insertion. Let me show you how it works. First, we hang the module on a guiding rod. At this stage, the LED module is nowhere close to other objects. Next step, we push the module in the wall. Because this step is mechanically guided, there is no risk of damage. Also in this stage, there is still a gap between the edge of the module and the edge of the surrounding modules. And in the final step, using a screwdriver, we can shift the module into its final position. And the nice thing is that we don't need to tweak anything thanks to the very tight tolerances of all components in combination with the frictionless frames. Before I move on to the electronics, notice how perfectly flat the surface of the LED wall is. There is no bulging of the PCBs and no alignment issues in the Z-axis, which can otherwise reveal a pattern of modules in overhead light conditions. But the most beautiful part, because of our revolutionary automated manufacturing process, we get this result without spending hours of mechanical tweaking. So to conclude, thanks to our smart engineering innovations, we can control the quality of our installation in a predictable manner while reducing the risk of damage. Our smart engineering technology is patented and unique, setting us apart and ahead of the rest. perfect installation is the first and necessary step to get the perfect viewing experience. Which brings me to the second phase of our customer journey, the viewing experience for the end user. The image quality is completely determined by the LED processing system. TruePix is the first platform using the new Barco InfiniPix Gen 2 processor. Most applications use the LED wall at full brightness, and we are also confronted with more video standards today than ever before. Since we are looking directly into the light source for direct view LED, viewing ergonomics requires our attention as well. We added some very nice new features specifically addressing these concerns. The first feature is called Smart Calibration. The time we were dealing with a dominant standard color gamut like sRGB or Rec 709 is over. Today we are dealing with video sources of a multitude of standards like HDR, HLG, Adobe RGB, just to name a few. Smart Calibration will apply the correct color gamut and EOTF curve to make sure the colors are represented correctly. And this makes sure red looks not orange, yellow not green, and green not blue. This happens automatically and instantaneously without the need of an expert user. But it doesn't stop here. Smart Calibration can push the boundaries of the native gamut of the LED wall to get even closer to the so-called wide color gamuts. Many LED processing systems will oversaturate the image. This will impact the more delicate parts of the image like skin tones. Notice how in this image the red of the umbrella is very saturated, but also how the skin tone looks unnatural. Looking now at the same image with Smart Calibration, notice how the umbrella is still saturated, but without affecting the accuracy of the delicate part of the image. The second feature is True Dynamic Range, and it deals with the low brightness performance of the LED display. Simply put, True Dynamic Range ensures that the bit depth of the video source is also represented on the actual display, regardless of the brightness settings. The feature is enabled by 23-bit processing. The processing bit depth is different from the bit depth of the video source, typically 8-bit or 10-bit in the case of HDR. The processing bit depth is a measure for the smallest step between black and gray a display can show. Most LED processors can take in 10 or 12-bit video sources, but this is not a guarantee that what you see on the display is also 10 or 12-bit. On top of that, when dimming, bits can get lost, resulting in loss of details visible as contouring. Let me dim the LED display for a second to 10% brightness and notice how every detail in the gray area is still visible without contouring. Like I said in the beginning of the demo, TruePix is the ultimate control room overview wall. One of the issues with narrow pixel pitch LED is the scanline effect, which can be perceived as visual flicker. The image is drawn line by line for every single driver. This happens very fast, but our eyes can pick up this movement pattern due to saccadic movements of our eyes, which are the fastest movements our body can produce. Barco Steady View provides 4 different settings to reduce this effect by breaking that pattern. Like this, we can always find a sweet spot to reduce perceivable flicker considering the settings for a particular use case. So, we have seen how the TruePix platform enables consistent deployment thanks to our smart engineering concept, and how InfiniPix Gen 2 provides an unmatched viewing experience to the end user with features like Steady View and True Dynamic Range. Now, let's look at the performance for our third phase in our customer journey, dealing with reliability, serviceability, and power consumption. The new hardware comes in a new small box, only half a rack unit, but the dry naked specs reveal a monster of performance. 8 SFP outputs, both HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.4 input interfaces, resolutions up to 8K, frame rates up to 240 frames per second, and a new patented 4-way receiver card. Let's see how this makes TruePix the most reliable product in the market for 24/7 applications. TruePix is the first product in the market using 5G on the tie-link compared to the 1G industry standard. This allows to connect 5 times more tiles per output of the processor. This simplifies the front-end solution significantly, reducing the number of cable runs and points of failure. It also makes the platform future-proof because it enables future, smaller pixel pitches in a more efficient way. Another exciting and even disrupting innovation of TruePix is the 4-way patented receiver card of the tiles. TruePix is developed with 24/7 critical applications in mind. However, even a moderate-sized LED wall consists of an incredible number of components. Take for example a 10 by 10 tiles wall. It has 100 tiles, 100 receiver cards, 200 modules, 100 power supplies, the list goes on. All industry products work with a 2-way or bidirectional receiver card. The optional redundancy can cope with a data link failure to prevent a big section of the screen going black. But this redundancy mechanism can only cope with one failure. The new receiver card of TruePix connects every tile with the 4 tiles surrounding it. In case of a data link failure, the tile has 3 other connections to receive the correct video signal. In the very unlikely case all 4 data links would fail, or in the case of a receiver card error, only this particular tile will be affected instead of the entire section to which it belongs. Let me show you, for example, the data part of this demo wall. Without any configuration, the video signal finds its way in all the tiles. To demonstrate what happens in case of failure, I will disconnect the cable. As you can see, the wall just keeps on working, and we could also see how the video signal path changed because of the new situation. The 4-way receiver card makes TruePix the most reliable product in the market. But maybe the nicest thing about this is that this level of redundancy is part of the architecture of the product. Although we have a very robust system architecture, failures can always happen. But don't panic. TruePix can now be managed by the Barco Video Wall Manager, which provides a single dashboard and user interface to set up, manage and monitor all Barco video walls, whether it's LCD, RPC or LED. The vitals of the system can be monitored and diagnostics can happen remotely. In the worst case, PMIs can be planned before critical failures occur. In this dashboard, for instance, we can see that our LED wall needs attention because of the missing data link. Unfortunately, maintenance interventions are the #1 cause of LED damage. It requires a lot of experience, skill and training to take out or replace a narrow pixel pitch module. But also here we come with a solution. The motorized front axis we already had with Barco's first XT series has now reached perfection. Let me show you by turning on the OSD for the front axis first. With a magnet, I can activate a motor behind the LED module. This mechanism now pushes out the module completely in a parallel way. The result is a module hanging on the guiding rod, which we can now safely take out thanks to the gap all around it. Maybe even a bigger challenge than taking out the module is putting a module back in the cavity in the wall. Again, it requires experience and training to do this without causing damage by bumping the edges of the modules to the surroundings of the cavity. Here too, for perfect handling, TruePix mechanics come to the rescue. I can hang the LED module on the guiding rod in a safe way. The next step, I can push the module back in. And because this movement is guided, there is no risk of damage. The average power consumption of a direct view LED video wall is around the same order of magnitude. Comparing spec sheets of different manufacturers might reveal small differences, but these are always in the same ballpark and even depend on the production batch. Instead of making incremental changes, we looked at the actual use cases that really make an impact. When benchmarking the industry standards, we found that up to 40% of the maximum power consumption is still used in standby modus. With TruePix, we reduced the power consumption on black with a factor 15 to less than 10 watts per square meter. For use cases in which the LED wall is put in standby on a regular basis, the new standby mode drastically reduces the electricity bill. In conclusion, Barco's TruePix platform ensures a consistent high-quality installation within a predictable time. It provides the best possible viewing experience with accurate color reproduction, regardless of the color standard, without the need of an expert user, and all the while reducing eye fatigue for improved ergonomics. Thanks to innovations like the 5G data link, the 4-way receiver card, and the integration in Barco's Video Wall Manager, we make sure our operations run smooth without avoidable interruptions. But it doesn't end here. As Barco, we understand that an LED video wall is always a big investment, regardless the brand. Therefore, we offer tailored maintenance service agreements and warranty conditions for up to 10 years to provide the ultimate peace of mind and to protect your investment. Important to note here is that unlike other manufacturers, our warranty goes beyond the immediate components. We guarantee batch-compatible spares for uniformity for the duration of the contract. A unique offering making sure your LED wall looks perfect not only on day one, but also after many years of usage. Thank you for attending this demo of TruePix. Hope you find this information useful and reach out to your Barco representative for more details.